Alright, quick video today. So I wanted to go over the SBN carburetors and then the BN carburetors and kind of how they fit on the engine and solutions to the SBNs being bigger. So on my current ski, I have the dual SBN 38s. So they sit sideways, but I still like to put a spacer on them just to kind of get the fuel lines a little bit farther away, and then I have room to get some tools in there to get them off, because changing jets and those things is a nightmare. It's like 45-minute to an hour investment just to get them off and change the jets and then get them all back together again. So it's a big headache. But if you're running a single SBN like this, and this is a 44, so this is the 44 millimeter SBN, and then this is the 38 millimeter SBN, and this is a 44 millimeter BN. So the BNs versus the SBNs. The SBNs, you can easily tell this. They have a square body to them. They have a big fuel pump on them. Very easy to tell an SBN from a BN. You can see the BN is a round body. They have the fuel pump off the front there, and then this has the fuel pump and then the diaphragm and where you get your jets out and stuff. So it's pretty easy to tell that. And then the 38 millimeter, either SBN or 40 or SBN or BN. The 44s always have a four bolt adapter for the flame arrestor, and then the 38s always have a 3 bolt. So you can see that there's only 3 in there. This is a 38. So that's kind of situation with that. But the issue that arises is that since the SBN does have a much larger profile side to side, that it doesn't fit without hitting the engine on a 550. So you have to run a spacer. So the spacer, it goes right here, and it's about, I don't know, probably like, ½ inch to an inch. And that just gets the carb away from the engine enough to be able to fit it without hitting it. So that's one option. The next option is there's a BCW intake that is longer, or has more length out, and then that kind of acts as your spacer, so it comes out a little bit farther and gets the carb away. So that's one other solution. And then the next solution is like this. So it's a 45-degree manifold, so it puts the carb off to the side a little bit, and then you can run it just like that, no spacer needed. This is the one I'm going to be running on my flat deck. But then you also need the low profile flame arrestor. You can't have a big fat one like this or this tall West Coast velocity stack, because it'll like get caught in the hood. So you got to run your Ocean Pro or any other low profile flame arrestor on it. So the reason that you want to do, you kind of want to avoid the spacer, is that the spacer, then you have to add, you have gasket here, then you have the spacer on top, and then you have 2 more gaskets, or 1 if you have a one-piece gasket, but still, you're still doubling your gasket surfaces. So that's more places to get leaks, and, it's just, it also looks better too if you don't have a spacer on there. And a lot of the guys that know and have been doing this stuff for a long time, they do not like spacers. So that's why I got this. So I'll be running that on my flat deck that I've got going on right now. So no spacer needed for that. And then BCW intakes are kind of hard to come by, and they're expensive, so I'm not going to do that. But there's a solution where on my dual carbs, since they're together, and I think I talked about this in another video, you can actually get rid of this fuel pump, and then you can run it without a spacer. You can run it on whatever manifold you want, no spacer. So how you do that, how you get rid of that pump, is you run an I guess like an inline pump, an external pump, and then this is a 650 fuel pump. So you put this in line, and then you can remove your fuel pump off of your SBN and use this one. And then, you know, you can always, like, this bracket is the bracket that comes in the 650. This one's actually broken, but this is the bracket that comes in the 650. So I would just mount up, make my own bracket, and then attach it to these two here, these two holes here, and bolt this in. It would be pretty simple. So when I do end up running this 44, I am gonna give this fuel pump a try because I think it's kind of cool. I'll paint it up, make a cool bracket, and it'll look good too. So that's my solution to the spacer. So I don't really plan on running spacers beyond my duals, which it was kind of necessary just to get a little extra room to wiggle in there and get the carbs off. But this one, no spacer needed, and then this one, I'm going to put this fuel pump on. So all you do is you just kind of follow the directions that are on here. So I believe this is the pulse here, and then fuel coming in through here, and then fuel coming out there. So you run your pump out here, no pump needed there. So you just take that off, and then you can throw this with all this extra space that you save when you get rid of this pump. You can throw on whatever manifold you want, and no worries with spacing. The only thing that you need is, I believe you can just get it off Blowsion, or you can look it up online, but it's like the pump delete plate for this. And that just sits flat on there, and you just use a couple of the gaskets out of the kit, and then all the rest of them you don't have to use. So you just buy that plate, that little delete, and then you run your pump for the 650. You run it in line, and then no spacer needed. So those are your solutions and your options to the SBN being larger, and what you can do to be able to fit it on your 550 in the most effective way. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one.